Very slow. Ashley, come in, Ashley. So guys, we seem to be having once again some technical difficulties with some of the sound. So apologies there. Daniel, yes, you got the dibs on the first one in, but while we are just sorting out our sound, I think that's why I'm not able to hear Ashley. Let's just resync this for him. So guys, apologies, just stand by for us and we will get Ashley back. There we go, that should have done it. So Ashley, just a quick test, do I hear you? Come in, Ashley. So guys, on my side I am able to see that Ashley is talking, but I am not hearing him. Just some guys that have joined us. Daniel, greetings from the States from him. Raider Cock, how's the boys? Greetings. Welcome back, Ray. Adrian Bond is also saying, go VDV, show them who's boss, or show who is boss. We also have Luke Kruger also coming in saying, Johan VDV for the win, as well as Daniel, a long time favorite here for the show. He also giving Johan VDV his best wishes there. So guys, apologies, you can hear my voice is not quite what it is. So I did wake up this morning with a bit of a stuffy nose and my sinuses are playing up, but that does not mean that we won't be giving you all this racing action. Brandon DeSantos, he's joined us. Let me just try once again with Ashley. Ashley, are you able to hear me? So just remember guys, a 5-minute qualifying is what the guys will be doing right now. We do have the top 5 drivers from last week's event that do find themselves in the Ford, and while we are waiting, I'm not too sure why I'm not able to hear Ashley, but just quickly you'll see that Peter Brunt atop of the standings after 4 rounds. He's 46 points ahead of Terry. You see the blue markings, those are the drivers that are going to be in the Ford. Terry, he'll find himself in the Ford. Dane in 3rd. He unfortunately is not racing this evening. Ryan in 4th place, he's in the Ford. Tyler in 5th place, then Colin in 6th, Michael in 7th place, Johan VDB, he's down in 8th, Morris is 9th, 10th Andrew Ambrogioni, Yanaman is in 11th, and then Christo in a 12th place, he too is in the Ford. We do have a guest entry, that is Craig. We do know him on a Thursday night T races for UV's Finest. He's joined us this evening, and he too will be racing in the Ford. So we do wish Craig every bit of the best for his race this evening. There we go. So Ashley, I am able to hear you. It is a little bit faint. Let's see if we can't just get your volume up.
Okay, wait.
So we do hear Ashley again, so that's really good news. So at least I won't be talking to myself for the remainder of this race. I did hear you. I have now turned up your volume. Ashley, how do you hear me? Okay, yes, I am hearing you. Peter Brandt taking a lot of curb on the inside there. Oh, that actually wasn't Peter. It was somebody in the BMW, but Peter Brandt getting a little bit of a sideways action there. Daniel saying Ash has a bit of an echo. I'm sure we'll get that sorted out. Peter Brandt, I'm sure, is not happy to be back in that Ford. Of the 5 races, Peter has spent 4 of the 5 in the Ford. In shot, Johan VDV is currently top of the standings as he runs himself just a little bit wide going into turn number 2. A very tricky little section there through Riches is that that corner tightens up on you, and getting it on the dirt does not leave any room for mistakes. We can see Michael very close to the edge of that runoff into the turn number 1, and then in Montreal, heavy braking zone there, which then goes all the way back around Palmer up into Agostini. You then have a right-hander through Hamilton's into Oggies, which is a pretty tricky little heavy braking zone, but then once again opens out into Williams, down the Bentley straight into that left and right section, Brundle into Nelson. The bomb hole, very tricky little corner as well. Keeping your foot absolutely pinned there is key. And then the long right-hander of Corium, then heavy braking once again into Murray's. So we do see the Fords struggling a little bit here. You can just see the length of this back Bentley straight, and this is where the BMWs are going to really make it quite difficult for the Fords to keep up. Yes, Ashley, I can hear you. So what I can tell you, Ashley, is that you will be pretty low, and that's because that the sound of the car will actually drown out your voice. Oh, that's. I think that was a little bit of a Ross action there. So that puts Johan VDV up on pole, and then we see that we do have in a second place. That is Mal TTR. That is not Jacques racing. Jacques, we'll see him racing in the Alpha tier. That is, as we say that, there's Peter Brandt. He's just gone and put himself second, 1.7. No, there was Tyler who went and put himself second. So unfortunately, dropping down the order was France in 4th place. Then Johan, he still takes that top spot. Tyler Scott second, Peter Brandt in 3rd, Colin in 5th. That is Janeman in 6th place, Ryan 7th. In 8th place, that is Reeve. Michael racing, he's in 9th place with Christo in 10th, Terry 11th place. Then we've got that's Stefan in 12th, and Craig, a newcomer to the series. He is, as you can see, is starting from the back.
Tyler.
So we have got video confirmation that France is definitely racing the profile of the false driver. We got a picture on the Discord, so it definitely is not Maljacques. So that is really good to see. We do not want some guys being called out to say that that was not him driving. I did see you buzz there. Was that you coming through on the Discord, Ashley?
No. I just wanted to confirm. Guys, can you give me the drivers? Can you hear me? Okay, fantastic. Can't hear me. So I just wanted to confirm if they could hear me. And I didn't want to be talking in the ear while they were racing. But just waiting for the guys to start up now. They'll be just getting themselves ready. And we should see the sync moment now.
So guys that are on the stream, just let us know, please. Are you able to hear Ashley? We do want to just try and make sure that he is able to be heard. So 20 minutes for this race. That was the syncing that we have been waiting for, and it is going to be very, very tricky through the first couple of corners. And you heard in the driver's briefing, they told the guys that they must please be careful, and Johan VDV is away. But what a great start there by Peter Brunt. He's going to get right up the back of Johan VDV, and he's going to have Tyler Scott, who might be able to squeeze himself on the inside. But Johan VDV is away and he is clear, and I'm not seeing anybody else dropping down the order, so that means there has been no contact into the first corner. Now into Montreal, heavy braking zone. You can see a 180-degree hairpin, a little tag there on the back of, there we go. You can see that is Michael, who's further down. So he's, that is Stefan getting a little bit of a tag. But back to the front, a little side-by-side action, and we've got Christo, who looks like he got a little bit of bump coming down Palmer. Michael just slowing down. It looks like he might have been the one who did that. You can see he is now getting himself back up to speed now.
Just on the back of Johan, giving pressure as they go down, water into the main straight, and we can see Tyler trying to tackle behind Johan, just get a bit of a steam, that gap only a second, and we'll be applying the pressure in this next section here.
Ooh, that's solid, getting a little bit too hot going into Bundle. And I do see that Peter Brunt has now dropped down to 4th. That Colin was able to get himself ahead of him going on that Bundle straight, the Bentley straight. It is extremely fast. Little look to the inside as Peter Brunt makes contact with Colin. But it looks like that they've both been able to stay on the track, while France is able to sneak up, not on the inside. It was Peter Brunt who managed to get on the inside. So very, very close racing there. And it doesn't look like there's any damage done. But now what's going to happen is that Greg's going to have... Greg, listen to me. Sorry, Janneman. You see, I did it. I knew it would happen. We were joking, calling Janneman Greg. Meanwhile, in 5th place, you see Janneman moving up into 5th place now. And as we say that, he runs wide going into Riches and now dropped down to 8th place.
So that looks like John getting it totally out of shape. He's now into the barrier, so that's unlucky for him. That's dropped way down now.
So that is actually France who's racing on his profile. And that's because we know that France, who's actually, his PSN is Flat Rabbit, has had countless issues trying to connect to the lobbies. And Jacques did try and get his PS there to his house to try and get him set up, and unfortunately not able to do that, and that is why we are seeing Moljak racing now, but we will see him later as Reeve catches a curb going through Hamilton. So he goes off backwards, and that's definitely now going to shake up the current positions. But we still have Johan VDV up in front with Tyler Scott in second place. And you can see Reeve just hanging back, allowing the guys to go past. And Johan VDV.
Open up. You see, nice gap. They're finding a good rhythm at the moment and getting on the track. It's good to see him up in this position. Right behind Tyler Scott, second position. I think he just made a slight mistake in the previous step. His time was slower. And that's allowed Johan to pull away.
So actually I just wanted to just keep it here, is because now we can see Collins now starting to come back again on a Peter Brunt. We saw Peter just sneaking up on the inside, going through Coram, and I'm sure that Collins going to want to get himself ahead of Peter again and take that third place back.
Yes, just get a bit of a breather. The escort says no through the corners. You can see that it's really solid opening up the gap on Collins behind him.
Ash, are you able to turn off your PlayStation mic? Because what the guys are saying is they're actually picking up an echo coming through your voice there. So Peter still leading this battle with between himself and Colin, and now I'm sure we're going to see Colin starting to close up that time, but you can see 1.8 seconds. So definitely going through the twisty bits is where the BMW is going to be struggling up against the Fords, but once the Ford gets onto the straight, it is absolutely cracker at fast down those straights. So just having a look at the current positions as we begin lap number 4. So Johan VDV, he's still out in front. Then Tyler is in second place. Peter Brunt in shot is in third. Colin is fourth with Janeman fifth. Ryan sixth. Terry seventh. Craig eighth. Michael a ninth. Jacques in 10th place. Reeve 11th. Christo 12th. And that is Stefan down in 13th place. So actually, if you are talking, I'm not able to hear you. I am seeing your little block is buzzing green, so it does say that there is some sound coming through, but not able to hear you right now. If we can just jump to position 7 and 8. Craig starting to close up on the back of Terry. So this is a Ford versus Ford. Okay, let's see if that works now. can see now that the sun is starting to go down. The track is going to be cooling off just a little bit, so the BMWs are going to start being able to push once again. They would have had to keep the tires pretty cool. And just looking at Colin in 4th place, is that he's still got Peter Brunt 2 seconds ahead of him and hasn't been able to close that gap down yet. Big lock up there for Colin going into Montreal. We have noted that it is quite a big braking zone, and in the back there we've got Ryan who's starting to close up on the back of Janneman. So that is the battle for 5th and 6th place brewing further down, but it is Johan VDV who's currently leading this race with just under 3.5 seconds clear of Tyler, who's in 2nd place. So cameraman Tim waiting for Tyler to go past and realized that he had already passed the corner. So now we catch up with the 2nd place driver. He has got just about 6 seconds ahead of Peter Brunt, currently in 3rd place. Just understanding that Peter is in the Ford, so he really is putting on a great performance here this evening. So Colin starting to close up on Peter. You can see that 0.8 of a second he has been able to make up there. So just jumping on the Facebook page, and we do see that there are some guys watching. Drop us a message. Tell us what you think of the racing so far, and we definitely will give you the shout out. If there's somebody who are supporting, let us know. Jump to Craig, who's in 8th place. And he's starting to close up on the back of Terry Wolford, who's currently in 7th. And you can see Terry currently in that Ford after an absolute cracker race last week. Terry getting a little bit slow coming out of the last corner. And now they're going to be a side-by-side cross the start-finish line. Will Terry allow Craig to go through? Because now Craig will have the tighter inside line. It looks like they might go side by side, and they choose to do so. A little touching there, and that is Terry up against the inside wall. And it looked like Ryan in 7th place is that he also had a little bit of an incident, because now all of a sudden I'm seeing Craig, he's up into 6th place. So a message there from Daniel saying that he calls Peter number 47 peanut butter. We must just check with Peter Brunt to see whether, but now I understand why he says that. So that is actually pretty funny. Well done there, Daniel. So just under 8 minutes left of this first heat. Just remember, guys, we will have another heat directly after this. Reverse grid for the top 6. And then we head off to the Alpha tier. So Colin is starting to close up on PB once again. You can see the last time they went through there, he was 1.2 seconds ahead. So Colin has been able to close up 0.2 of a second. And guys, apologies, for some reason we are not getting Ashley's sound to come through. But we will just keep it going. So 1.1 seconds is the gap between Colin and PB as they cross the line to begin their 7th lap. You can see how the BMW definitely does close up on the Ford, specifically on the start-finish line, but now into the heavy braking twisty zone. lock up there for Colin. But Peter Brunt's able to get that power on a little bit sooner than the BMW. But now he should be able to carry a lot more speed now going in through Palmer. Oh, PB runs a little bit wide. He's up on the curb, and that's going to allow an easy overtake there for Colin in the end there. So he will sneak up on the inside. You'll see just protecting going through Agostini. Another straight line speed advantage of the BMW will allow him to pull away as he approaches into Hamilton, taking a lot of the inside curb. That's very brave, while Peter Brunt goes to the outside now through Oggies. And this is what Colin needed. He needed to stay ahead, especially getting on this Bentley straight, to open up that advantage, because we saw how Peter Brunt was able to get himself on the inside going through Coram. And an absolutely crazy straight line speed advantage. You can see how that BMW is just pulling away in the I'll say background there, but it's actually ahead of him. But now Peter Brunt's able to close down, and once again you can see how that gap just closed up now through a bomb hole. You can see how that BMW is sideways. Now Peter Brunt will be able to get nice and tight on the inside here, while the BMW will be fighting for the grip, specifically on the rear. Great entry into the corner by both those drivers, but this is all she wrote. You can just see how that BMW now is just going to start opening up that gap, and they're going to begin their 8th lap on 5 minutes left. And Johan VDV 5 seconds ahead of Tyler, who's in 2nd place. And this is the battle for 3rd and 4th. I just want to jump to 7th and 8th there, please, because we see that France is having an almighty battle now with Michael. And if France goes wide, that's going to allow Michael to move up. So I'm glad that we jumped there when we did. So Michael now up into 7th place. And he does have Craig ahead of him in the Ford. And Terry, after that little incident going into turn number 1, he was side by side. He now finds himself being absolutely abused by Reeve. So that now sends Reeve up into 9th place in that BMW. And Terry now dropping down into 10th. He's very late on the brakes, and that's the advantage of the Ford. They're going to be a side by side. But it is just too much of an ask for the Fords. For the Fords to get that straight line speed done. A little bit of a wide line there for Terry. And it looks like Ryan has needed to go into the pits. And just in the background there, we saw that Michael still being chased there by France. Ooh, a little bit of wide there for Reeve, and he spins out, and it looked like it was possibly a carbon copy of what had happened with him earlier on in the race. He just hit that outside curb going through Hamilton, and that unfortunately sent him off into the infield. 3 minutes left, and Johan Sneddy is 7 seconds ahead, as we see Peter Brunt absolutely throwing that little Ford around, trying to close down Colin, who's ahead of him. So guys, while the Alpha tier Bravo tier gets ready for their second heat, we will try and see if we can't get Ashley back into the commentary box with me. What I'll do is I'll just re-sync the page, and hopefully we will be able to get him through on the Discord. But definitely the driver that does not give up definitely must go to Peter Brunt. Even though he's in the Ford, fighting for a 4th place against Colin, having an absolute crazy battle. You can see Colin going a little bit wide, and Peter Brunt just throws it in sideways, gets that power on, and just rides the slide through. Absolutely crazy. So a little touch of the outside curb there, and that was the curb that we are assuming that Reeve is hitting, going through Hamilton. You can see how aggressive Peter Brandt is with that car, and just scanning down the order just to see if there are any other battles, and we do see that Reeve is starting to close back up on Terry once again. So that is Michael currently in a second place. In shot is we see Mul TTR, but that is in fact Flat Rabbit France, who is at Jacques' house getting in some race time. Is every time France does try and connect from home, is unfortunately he does have some internet issues, but really great to see him racing. So 30 seconds left, and there we saw Terry going through the second last corner. So this will be the last lap for this first heat here in the Bravo tier. And the man to beat has been Johan VDV. An absolutely sterling performance here by him. Tyler Scott currently in second place. He would just need to bring it home to take that second position. Then a third place is Colin, who seems to have just opened up that gap between himself and Peter Brandt, as one of the Fords just move out of the way to allow the race leader Johan to go through. And then I've just missed it. A driver that's actually done very well after a little bump earlier on is Janneman. He's got himself in a fourth place, and he's starting to close up on the back of Peter Brandt. You can see 0.3 of a second between them. Apologies. Oh, I did read that wrong. It's actually a 1 second between them. So here comes the race leader through the last corner for the final time in this heat, and a great drive there by Johan. He crosses the line in first place. Second place is Tyler. Then a third is Colin, managing to keep Peter Brandt at bay. And there goes Peter Brandt. He's going to have... yes, it looks like Janneman has been able... Oh, no, I'm so confused. Sorry, guys. So there's Peter Brandt in fourth, Janneman in fifth, Michael in a sixth place. That was a back marker that was causing a bit of the confusion there. So Michael coming home in sixth. That's going to put him first for the second heat. Then France, he'll come home in a seventh place. Terry finishes in eighth position. Craig will come home in ninth. Apologies. Reeve will come home in ninth, because as I'm looking at the scores, I'm just updating it just so that we can get the top three drivers for the evening. Just want to run down to get the final positions. There's Sarge down in 13th place. Stefan, he was able to move up the order. He put himself in 12th position. And there's Christo finishing in 11th position. So guys, if we can just get the chat party invites out. And I'm sure Tyler did take a photo so that we were able to get the starting positions for the second heat. Just remember, top 6 do a reverse grid. So just getting messages coming through. So Daniel's saying he doesn't know why the red and yellow BMW makes him want McDonald's. So just the question is that, are you going to have that for dinner? And then Brandon DeSanto saying PB is running alpha times on that Ford. Yes, don't worry, Brandon. Peter Brunt does know where he will be racing in the next season. And Michael saying, sorry, my steering had to be reset mid-race, yet he still came back and pulled out a 5th place. That is absolutely a crazy, crazy driving there. Okay, so Ashley, I'm going to be just resyncing the Discord, and let's see what happens. Okay, Ashley, just checking that you're able to hear me. So guys, it is the craziest thing is I am able to hear Ashley. I can see that there's a sound coming through, but when he is speaking, I'm not getting his sound coming through at all. Okay guys, we're just waiting for Tyler to give us the green light that we're able to proceed. I suppose if I put on the vote to start, then at least he knows that we are ready on our side. Okay, actually, let's check once again. I've now done something different. Just is not making sense at all. Okay guys, we will be having a rolling start. The guys will be getting themselves into positions. Just remember the top 6 drivers will be doing a reverse grid. So that is the fake start. Oh, that was very close. Holy cow. Michael almost went up the back of that driver. Still just a little bit of confusion further down the field. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close down the Discord. Let me restart it while these guys are getting ready, and then hopefully you come back in and it's going to work. So I'm getting a thumbs up there from Ashley, and I can't explain what he's actually doing to me now. Oh, it's a race leader Michael getting a little bit sideways, and that was going through Hamilton, and you can see that was where Reeve had lost it twice, so very tricky little corner there. But he is absolutely flying. I'm just hoping he starts slowing down there. So see Michael now starting to close up the field. Oh, I'm getting some. So guys, I do see that we've lost Terry and Johan VDV. What is going on here? So actually, I don't know if you have contact to the lobby to see whether we're going to be restarting, but we have lost 2 drivers. Okay, so we see that they have exited out just before that race has started, which means that we will be able to get both Johan VDV and Terry back. The general rule is that if the guys are disconnecting and the race has started, we will continue with that race. But we definitely don't like seeing guys disconnecting on that warm-up lap.
Yeah. That's fine. Go for it. Go. No. One restart only. You can't keep restart.
Yeah, we can just hear Ashley talking in the background there, just saying that there's one restart.
Go for it.
But we will have to just get the guys in quickly. Because just remember, we do have the alpha tier waiting in the background. What we will be doing from the next season is just switching the start times of the different tiers, just to give the alpha tiers, the guys, the opportunity to start at 8 o'clock, and then the Bravo tiers will have to just wait till that 9 o'clock and just get a little taste of what is in store for them. So actually it is extremely strange because I can see that there is a sound input coming into the Discord, but I physically cannot hear you. I can hear you now. True story. Oh, it's PlayStation sound.
Then the guys can't hear me properly.
Well, then what you might need to do is that if you just exit out of the Discord, because maybe they're hearing you in the Discord as well as the PlayStation, where I'm just hearing you in the PlayStation. So just exit the Discord, and then at least I'm still able to hear you.
Well, I'll mute the Discord. I can hear you.
That's a great idea.
So I won't be. Let's do that. Can you hear me now, Dylan?
Yes, I can hear you now. It is faint, but I am able to hear you. Okay, so actually I see we have 12 drivers. It does look like we have lost one of them, but Michael, he's in first place. There's Colin, so Colin will still need to... Colin third, then Tyler, Johan, the VDV. Terry is in 6th place with Christo in 8th. That is Reeve in 9th place, and I'm hoping that he's able to stay off those curbs. Craig down in 10th place with Stefan in 11th and Ryan in 12th position. So one of the 13 drivers are not with us for the second heat.
and it really close to my mouth here. Hope that you hear me. So I've muted the Discord, and now we're getting sound directly from the PlayStation. So hopefully the viewers can hear me. So yes, we have lost.
We've lost Yanaman.
Yeah. When I say to the guys who are running a bit behind time, so fortunately this will only be one restart, and we'll have to carry on with the race. Seems just getting too late, and the guys in the altitude will be waiting to start, and patiently waiting, and they want to get the race as fast as possible. So the pack at the moment, we've got Michael up front, had a good recovery in the first pushing him, closed down the gap to the guys in front of him. In second position, Peter Brunt doing a fantastic job in the much slower and powered Ford Escort. He's followed by his nemesis in the previous race, Colin. And position Tyler, followed by Johan, who won the previous race. Should be starting in his position, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, but that's because Yanaman's disconnected.
That's correct.
Whoa! Great start there by Johan, and he's managed to get himself ahead of Tyler. And it looked like Tyler may have just been caught napping there, but now it's dropped into single file through turns number 1. So Johan dropped in the 5th place. Oh, that was very close there. And that was France taking a lot of that outside curb. You can see nice and tight there for Johan through Montreal. And he's now going to have Colin on his inside. But all the drivers are now clear.
So good start there from Peter Brunt. He managed to hold on to that second position, even though they had a lot of straight BMWs. But Michael did a good job of backing up the pack right to the start of the line. And I think that's allowed Peter Brunt and a little bit of slide sideways, and so does Michael up in front, and nearly loses the back of their BMW. And the rest of the field closed down on him and Peter Brunt. But now you'll see the BMW advantage on the straight, as Peter Brunt will be looking in his rear view mirrors. And I just want to go forward with
that is Colin who's all to get the inside going into Brundle, but that will still have Peter now on the inside for Nelson. So it looked like he was able to hold on to that position. So guys, just let us know whether Ashley's that echo has been fixed. If not, we will have to ask him to please just turn that mic off, and I will take the commentary from here on in. Guys, we've done this. This is now our 10th race that we've done, and we haven't had these problems before. Just don't understand. There's nothing that's changed from week to week. So apologies to everyone who is watching. But now we've got Michael starting to pull a gap, 2 seconds ahead of Peter Brunt, who's got 3 BMWs right behind him waiting to pounce. But he should be able to hold the pack as they go through. So it looks like the sound has now been fixed there, Ashley. So just drop us a few words there, because it does say it is now fixed.
Fantastic. Well, we can see Peter Brunt now backing up those BMWs behind him. And that's actually giving him a slight advantage, because he can now getting the power down through this twisted section. So we know he's much quicker through this first sector. And while the cars behind him struggle for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th positions. I see Johan's drop down. I see he has made a mistake. I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he had run himself just a little bit wide. It looked like it was turn 1, and that allowed France just to sneak up on the inside. But now you can see it looked like Michael made a mistake, because now only 1 second between himself and Peter Brunt in that Ford. But as we mentioned, Peter Brunt is now going to have 4 BMWs. That's France and Johan side by side. That was a side by side action for Johan and France as they rejoined back onto the Bentley straight, going through the Williams corner.
There was a bit of impatient move there by Johan, and he just flashed lights there just to apologize, but unfortunately the damage has already been done.
That was Tyler nearly losing it there.
Yeah, that was close. But Peter Brandt has managed to close that gap on Michael up in front, so Michael must have made a mistake somewhere, because that gap has come down right to half a second. But having said that, he's also opened up quite a big gap between himself and Colin.
Yeah, that's just under 2 seconds there.
Well, so he's had a crack of a lap. You look at his time at 2:05 compared to Michael in front doing a 2:07. And that's very similar to Colin's pace with a 2:07.1 in third position.
So we are just about 12 minutes left in this race, and so far the driver of the night has definitely been Peter Brunt for me, being able to compete up in the front here in this Ford against these BMWs. And I'm seeing that Colin is now starting to close up on Peter Brunt, is now getting himself to just about 1.5 seconds. But it's all counts back on that Bentley straight, and that is where the BMWs start coming back on this poor little Ford.
But he's not letting Michael get away, that's for sure. He's pushing very hard. You can see him going a little wide there, really throwing him to the corners. Let's see what he does on this Williams corner that leads into Bentley.
So I even saw Tyler throwing it through Williams there. So definitely the trend here this evening is guys throwing the cars in and letting that rear step out and sliding and riding the slide through the corners.
Whoa, he just gets it out of shape there.
Oh,
and so does
that's Colin.
He was maybe just watching Peter Brunt there, and also got out of shape, and that's set him back now, and he's dropped right down to 6th position. So that's a bit unfortunate for him. But still up in front, we've got Michael, who's now opened up a 1.5 second gap after Peter made that little mistake.
And I see Johan, a little flash of the lights there to Tyler. I think just a little message just to say, Tyler, I'm here and I'm coming for you. And something I did in the race we did last night on the Assetto Corsa, every time I'd come up to a driver, just give him a little flash, just let him know that you're there, and just get in the minds of that driver. Nice tight line for both Tyler and Johan coming out of Montreal. Now they're going to go down Palmer, and such a tricky corner, because you'll see that as it turns in, it just breaks away from you on the exit, and then you're going over that little crest. So quite a tricky corner to get. Now hard on the brakes now into Agostini. And Johan's just a little bit wide. That's allowed Tyler to get that power on a little bit earlier.
Yeah, you just see he's pushing a little bit too hard through that section, and he outbraked himself, and that's what forced him to go wide. But now coming back at OG's, and he's much tighter this time. Tucks up behind him as they go through Williams, and they will start now on the Williams straight. And he
little kick of the rear. Yeah, a little bit of oversteer there for him.
He will have a bit of a advantage now, a little bit of slipstream. Let's see if he's able to close that gap, but it looks like Tyler had a much better drive off that Williams corner.
So Johan very tight there coming in through Nelson's. That's going to allow him to get a lot closer to Tyler now through a bomb hole. And this Corum, an absolute crack of a corner. You can see how long it is. It just sweeps to the right hand side You've got to tighten up here, get a straight line braking, and then set yourself up for Murray's. Tyler's wide, Johan's on the inside. That's a great move there by Johan, being able to take advantage of that, and you'll see Tyler now down into a 4th place, and Johan a little flash to say, thanks buddy, but I'll take my position.
Absolutely, and maybe that was just a warning for Peter Brandt saying, Peter, I'm on my way.
Whoa!
How did he manage to hold on to that? I have no idea, but he has.
And you'll see he goes very defensive into Montreal. Big lockup of the brakes. Tyler would be on the inside. They just about touch. But great driving by both of the drivers there. Just looking in the background. That is a Flat Rabbit being chased down by Colin.
So yeah, Colin is recovering after that off that he had, going through the little tight sections just before.
That's through Nelson's. That was turning right, turning left into Brundle, then the right into Nelson, and that's where the car gets very unsettled because you are changing direction on the brakes. I like to do like a 3-stage braking. You're braking, turning in, braking again, and just before you turn in, you're just trail braking on the way in.
Thanks, Ted, and I'll keep that in mind for my race.
Just because I said it and it works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So you can't come and hold me to that.
So Johan now closing up on Peter Brandt, who's still out in 2nd position. And that last lap, Johan managed to do a 2:05, which was 2 seconds quicker than Peter up front. We know Peter is much quicker, so I wonder if he's just feeling maybe the tyres are going off a little bit in this later stage of the race. But a good couple of corners here for Johan, and he gets a good drive off the line. He'll tuck up just behind Peter. See if he is able to pass him on the first corner. Go down to Montreal, and as you can see, the BMW just has so much power.
So Peter decides just to let him go through, and then Johan takes a lot of the inside curb. That could have actually spelled coconuts for him. But this is where Peter will now be able to come back and fight hard against the BMW. You can see he's just struggling to get that power down. But as they'll go down through Palmer, Peter will be able to get nice and tight on the inside, but he seems to be just throwing that car around, using the slide to his advantage. So there was a shot from the back.
Bit of a mission here. He knows he doesn't have much time left. There's only 5 minutes left on the clock, and he can see Michael in front of him. And could we see a late upset here during the late stages of this race? You can see Michael on the last lap at 2:05, so he knows that Johan's on his way and he's been pushing. But
I just saw a glimpse of Peter Brandt in the rearview mirror there, so you can just see Peter Brandt there. So he is still not out of this, and I'm almost thinking that through this section Peter Brandt may be able to close up on Johan once again. Oof, Johan really hit that corner very well, so that's allowed him to just keep ahead of Peter Brandt. You can see that time between the two of them is opening up now as they go through Coram, but this is where it will now just dip ever so slightly. Very wide is Johan on the dirt on the outside. You can see him kicking up a lot of dust, and Tyler now.
Not going to help him.
4 minutes left.
He won't have the drive, and you can see how Peter Brandt was able to close that gap just from that little mistake. But let's see if Peter Brandt is going to apply some pressure here going through Montreal.
Oof,
we know
big
that
lock
is much
up.
better through the tighter corners.
And you could just see how easily Peter is able to get that power down versus that Ford. The BMW just squirreling on that power, and Peter Brunt just sticking through Palmer right behind the BMW. This is an absolute great battle here, and we are talking about the fight here between the first and second driver on the championship. Peter Brunt flicking that car through Hamilton, now through Oggies. Let's see, will Peter Brunt be able to cut on the inside? Yes, he does, but Johan goes and defends the inside line there. And Peter right up on the back of that BMW. So Johan getting out of the way, trying not to give him any sort of slipstream advantage. And that is what we want to see. Close, really, really competitive racing. So Peter sliding it through and on that power. Oh, little touch of that inside sausage curve. And Michael now 4.5 seconds just about ahead of this battle for a second and third.
Fantastic racing going on here this evening between these two. Epic battle, and Peter Brunt showing us that he's got the skills to be up with those guys in the Alpha tiers, as well as Johan, who's showing us how he can throw that BMW around without any problems. And he seems to be found his rhythm again with that last lap doing a 2:05.7 compared to the leader, the 2:06.2.
And also saw Tyler did a 2:05.8, so he is now within half a second of Peter Brunt. And man oh man, being in that Ford must be absolutely just soul destroying. You're throwing everything at it, and then it's just by pure brute and power between the two cars that Tyler is able to close up that gap.
Absolutely. Just going down the back of the order, we have Colin and Reeve having a good battle here for 6 and 7.
So just for the viewers at home, the Ford has 190 horsepower while the BMW has 270 horsepower. In terms of the weight, there is just about 250 kilos heavier in the BMW, and a top speed of 257 in the BMW versus 220. So it is all about acceleration and carrying that speed through the corner, where the Ford has that advantage. Oh, Peter is up on that curb once again. You can see it just about fling him off the track there.
But I think this will be the last lap for these guys. A good epic battle. So we see Michael coming down the last corner. And the time clocks down. I think that'll be the end of the race. Yep. Good first position there for Michael, followed by Johan in second. And Peter Brunt manages to hold on for that third position, followed very closely by Tyler. In a fantastic race by those four this evening. In fifth position we have France, riding in Maljog seat tonight. And a good battle between Reeve and Colin here. Reeve getting himself a good respectable sixth position, followed by Colin. Craig, not sure what he's doing there. Looks like he's farming, letting the guys through. Doesn't want to be involved in it. As we know, it's the invitational driver, so he doesn't want to spoil everybody's chances of getting points here this evening. The Terry will come out down to the start-finish line and finish in 8th position. And right at the back of the grid, we've got Christo.
So thank you, Ashley, for filling in that those positions for me. Is I've now been able to get all the points in for the race here in the Bravo tier, and with that we are able to get our top 3 drivers this evening. Can you believe it? We have Johan VDV, he's in first place, and Michael and Tyler Scott both scoring 43 points and just 4 points ahead of Peter Brunt in fourth. And I think we should actually just get all 4 of them into the lobby on the Discord, and hopefully we will be able to hear them. So guys, we are going to try and see whether we can get those 4 drivers into our Discord, and hopefully that you will be able to hear them. If not, apologies. Not sure why our software is not working this evening. No, we have not changed anything. But just so the guys in the lobby, if we could have Peter, Tyler, Michael and Johan in the Discord, please. points this evening, and between Johan taking the top spot and Peter Brunt finishing off just 4 points behind Michael. An absolute great result there. So unfortunately our Discord not working, so apologies guys on the stream who wanted to hear from our drivers. So guys, if you have just joined us, this is the Alpha tier, and if you did miss the previous racing, I do suggest that once it does go live tomorrow morning, in terms of the saved replay, go and check it out. 2 absolutely fantastic races have been had already, and here we are now looking at the Alpha tier. So Johan, I know that you are still in the Discord. Just let us know if you are able to hear me. So I am able to see that Johan is talking, but I'm not hearing that sound come through, so very disappointing, but we'll definitely have to figure out why and how that's happened. So apologies there guys, but we will be, I suppose, just taking on this race So 2 minutes left of this qualifying, and we have got Ashley. That is now Maljak in second place. Dirkie, Pete, Brandon DeSantos, Andrew Horn, V-Dubber raced with him last night. Then we have Stephen. That is Robert, Jakes, Marshall, and then Christopher. Just taking a look at the current point situation. And Jakes, he leads 7 points clear of Dirkie on 131 points in second place. Then Gerard 2 points behind him. Andrew Horn 2 points behind him. So a total of 11 points now separating first to fourth. Then we had Christopher, who unfortunately missed the last race, only 23 points down. Just knowing that we have 60 points up for grabs, 30 points for each of the heats. So anything can happen. Pete's currently in 6th place. Then we have Marshall, Ashley, Maljak, Brandon DeSantos, Robert Saltz, Stephen, Marius, unfortunately having to withdraw out of the series due to his PlayStation giving him issues. Marius, we are waiting for the day that you're able to join us. Alex has unfortunately been away. Then Theo, he's had to withdraw from our Monday Night League, which is very unfortunate. And then Alessio, our German counterpart, he unfortunately having to withdraw. His internet just not holding, and we weren't able to get him racing with us. So in terms of some of those times, you can see Christopher out in front, 202.1, with Jakes in second place, 202.8. Then Gerard, 204.2. Marshall, 205. Then Robert, 206. Stephen, 213. And sorry, I did forget to mention that Andrew Horn, Peter, Maljak, Brandon, and Stephen those are your 5 drivers that are in the Ford this evening. So normally we'd have Ashley checking up on our Facebook comments, and the only comment we have there is Stephen saying, hey boys, and we do have Stephen racing now. Stephen is currently lying in 11th place, knowing that he is in one of the Fords, and we are hoping that he is able to be one of the fastest in the Fords this evening, because that's what this championship has started to come down to. The fact that we have got 5 drivers within 30 points of each other, meaning with this race plus 3 more races, this championship is still very much wide open. The next track does have a more advantage given to the Fords once again, but we do believe that a bit of light rain around the Red Bull ring is just going to add a little bit of havoc with the guys trying to get that power down and hopefully bring that advantage back to the Fords, but everything will have to wait and see till that pans out next week. But here we go. That is the end of qualifying, and Christopher, he will start off in a first with Jake second, then Gerard, Dirkie, Ashley, Marshall, Andrew, Robert, Pete, Brandon, Stephen, and then Jacques. So guys, if the Alpha tier can live up to the Bravo tier expectations, that will really make for some absolute fantastic racing, but we do believe that that's exactly what we're going to be seeing. So guys, sit back and enjoy. Remember, the first race is 20 minutes. The guys will start from a standing start. The next race, we mix things up. The top 6 do a reverse grid, and the rolling start gets that race underway. So we see that a Memo, aka Veritarus, he has joined us saying go Chasing Beaver. He will be supporting Marshall. Christo saying good racing, gents. We did see Christo racing. And Dylan for President of the USA, don't quite think so. And we are racing, and we've got Jakes, who's got an absolute crack of a start. It looked like Christopher bogged down, and he's going to have Dirkie now moving to that inside. So Jakes is now the new leader, Christopher bogging off the line. Then it is Christopher, but now we've got Marshall trying to go around the outside, and side by side, that was Gerard and Ashley. But everyone now seems to be through pretty cleanly. A little bit of a touch there, but no harm done. So Jakes now leads down through Palmer. Christopher running a little bit wide, taking that outside curb. Now they head to Agostoni. You can just hear the revving of the BMWs, and a little bit congested down in the back there. You can see it is an absolute Ford fest. Ashley has Andrew Horn right behind him, 0.2 of a second. And that was when we saw Reeve. Oh, that's Andrew losing it, going through Hamilton. And that's sent him off. A huge impact there. So very unfortunate for Andrew. He has now found himself taking a piece of that outside curb. And that's going to possibly hamper him for the rest of the race. I see that Terry Wolford here has joined saying go Rough Riders, and I'm not sure whether you saw that. A little rubbing of the rear of Jakes from Christopher. Christopher now gets the drive coming through Nelson. He'll now take the inside line through Bombhole and will now have the inside through Coram. And I'm sure Dirkie is watching this, waiting for anything to happen. We did see championship results end between these two teammates coming together around Sonoma, and that allowed Morris to move himself up into second place overall. So Gerard right up behind the back of the chasing beaver. And that is Marshall, who is currently in 4th place. So they will slide it through Richards, a double apex corner. And Marshall getting a little bit loose. So Gerard moving to the inside into Nelson, Montreal, apologies. Great move there, and Marshall now having to let that place go. And now Gerard is up into 4th place. But still lots and lots of battles. You see it was Stephen in the pits getting some damage repaired. So I do believe that was Stephen that went piling into Andrew. We saw Andrew losing it going out of Hamilton, and that corner has played havoc. Jake's a little look to the inside just before he goes into Nelson. So that looked like it was Ashley getting himself ahead of Robert. Just looking in the background, and so far it is Pete in 6th place. He is currently the fastest of the Fords, and Mal Jacques in 6th place. He's going to have Ashley in the BMW. You can see Ashley having a little bit of some damage done to the front of his car. But out in front is Jake's in shot in the very green Mamba colors, car number 5, chasing down his compatriot teammate in car number 17, that is Christopher. And still within a second of the leader, that is Dirkie in the little lock up there for Dirkie in car number 73. That should allow Gerard to get just that little glimpse of hope to start closing him down. But Christopher and Jake's now starting to open up the gap ahead of Dirkie. You can see that gap was within a second. Now just about 3.5 seconds is the gap between 2nd and 3rd place. And I've just seen the positions change. Well spotted there. Tyler, wow, as Pete goes sliding through. But Ashley has been able to move himself up ahead of Sly Pete. Now Ashley up into 6th place. Pete, the fastest of the Fords, in 7th. But he has Mal Jacques right behind him, followed by Robert in the background there. So a long train of drivers now going through Agostini. So Dirkie starting to just lose touch of the guys ahead of him. And Gerard nice and tight through Williams. Marshall, he runs just a little bit offline there. But I don't think that will be too much of a problem for him. Dirkie getting very, very tight up on that inside curb going through the Nelson corner. Jake's now trying to close up the gap between himself and Christopher. You can see both the drivers taking very similar lines there. And both drivers bouncing the car through the final corner, Murray's. So Gerard is almost within a second of the 3rd place driver, Dirkie. And Tyler just wanted to drop down to 8th and 9th. I see Jacques is getting quite a bit of trouble from the back of Robert. And you can see Robert in the BMW behind him. So he'll get ever closer. But will he have enough pace to have a look to the inside? He decides to rather not take that chance. So guys, if you have just joined us, let us know what you think of this racing so far. This is the first of the 2 heats this evening. Oh, big lock up there by Christopher going into Agostini. No time penalties so far. and you'll hear that I am commentating on my own this evening. We're having some technical issues with our Discord, that not able to get anybody else, not hearing anybody else, should I say. Jake still fighting very hard, keeping himself within a second. Jumping to Sly Pete, and that is Peter Hardeman. He is currently in 7th place, and Mal Jacques, he's trying to get himself ahead of Peter as Peter goes wide, going through Oggies. That's going to allow Jacques to close up. Now a good exit through Williams. Oh, little touch of the brakes there by Jacques. Did not want to touch the back of Pete. But now side by side, and I think Pete's going to have to start moving over to the right hand side. But he's going to have the... Oh, that's Robert getting very, very close there. So now Jacques going to be going around the outside, which puts him on the inside for Nelson. So a great overtake there by Jacques. Just about a nose to tail. And Robert will be able to tuck on the inside, and he should get himself quite comfortably ahead of Pete. But now they'll go through Coram, so the BMW will be fighting for their traction through the section. And the Ford will be a lot better on the brakes. You can see how Peter was able to just throw that car in through Murray's. And now this is where the BMW will start opening up. So Robert, having another look on the inside, decides against it. And Gerard has now got himself up into 4th place. Well spotted there, Tyler. Thanks for that. So Dirkie now falling down the pace. You can see Gerard did a 2:03.7. So it's just within a second of Christopher, our race leader. Ooh, a little touch of the outside curb, which is going to allow Dirkie to come straight back at him. They are going to be a side-by-side through Hamilton's, and Dirkie is able to make that move stick, or will he? Because now Gerard is on the inside here. They go side-by-side. Dirkie on the outside, touches the dirt. Gerard now goes through once again. So these two drivers changing positions in the last 2 corners. Absolutely a fantastic racing action right here. Still just over 10 minutes to go. And Robert and Sly Pete still very much in their own battle. And this should be where Robert will be able to get that power down and overtake Pete on that Bentley straight. This is where the BMW, you can really see, starting to close up. Peter now moves to the outside, and the Ford is an absolute sitting duck on this long straight. But Pete can come back now through Brundle, then into Nelson, and as mentioned, a very tricky braking zone, because you're braking as you're turning left, plus then have to get that car settled for the right-hander. Oh, I saw that Pete just getting that braking zone a little bit wrong and running a little bit deep, going off the track there at Murray's. So he will now rejoin, still in 9th place, but are now very much out of this challenge. And between Gerard and Dirkie, Gerard has been going a little bit quicker than Dirkie. So Gerard now starting to open that the gap in comfortably in a 3rd position. And Christopher, the current race leader, he now 1.5 seconds ahead of Jakes, who's in 2nd place. But as we look at the current standings, it is 6 Fords, try that again, 6 BMWs out in front. Jacques is currently the fastest of those Fords. And just remember, how these guys finish will determine the starting grid for the 2nd heat. Reverse grid is how we run the 2nd heat, but only of the 6 drivers out in front. So 8 minutes left of this race. And there's Andrew. You can see definitely he's going to need some panel beating to be done on that Ford of his. He is currently in a 10th position. Losing it out, going through Hamilton corner and just touching that outside curb. And we did see Reeve did that twice in his 2 races. So that curb out there definitely not something the drivers want to be using. So has Christopher made a mistake, because now Jake's 0.6 of a seconds behind him as they now come down Palmer's. Jake's is nice and tight while Christopher runs slightly wide, and you can see that the sun is starting to set. That's going to make the track a little bit trickier, a little lock up there for Christopher, and that should play into the hands of Jake's. A touch of the brakes and a flick of the rear for Christopher, and both Jakes and Christopher using that outside curb. Lock up there for Jakes. That's not going to help his cause, as we see Christopher opening up 0.2 of a second by Jakes making just that little mistake. So currently running with Robert, who's in 7th place. He does have Ashley, who's 7 seconds ahead of him, and Amal Jacques 2.1 seconds behind him. So only 6 minutes left of this heat, but don't worry, there will be another heat, and we know what that reverse grid does for the racing action. Definitely going to be interesting, to say the least. Ooh, Dirkie pushing really hard and just finding too much of that inside curb through Nelson. So Christopher now starting to open up a comfortable gap once again. 1.5 seconds between himself and Jakes. Lock up there for Drakes going into Montreal. Can you just jump Tyler down to 3rd and 4th place? Because it is a Dirkie that's now got himself back into 3rd and Gerard into 4th. So I wonder if we will see another backwards and forwards battle here as they head towards Agostini. We saw the drivers changing positions a couple of laps earlier. Just love that view, how the cars just pan away. They go around the sharp right-handers. Dirkie takes a lot of that outside curb. Very dangerous there. And you can see it just looked like his car just didn't turn in. And he did ride that outside curb a little bit wide. So Gerard also turning in just a little bit too soon. And you can see how that just created a bit of understeer for him on the exit of the corner. So Dirkie now starting to open up a gap between himself and Gerard. Gerard now in the 1 second time distance. I was going to say time zone. I don't want my mind being time zone. Nevertheless, Dirkie's a little bit slow off the line there. Gerard got a good exit, so you can see that time just starting to close down ever so slightly. And we should have 2 more laps, so it will be this lap plus 1 more. And Christopher now 2.5 seconds ahead of Jakes, who is currently in a 2nd position. Just a quick scan down the order, and I'm not seeing any other battles happening just yet. So we'll keep the action here. So guys, what I think we will do is that after this round of both Heat 1 and Heat 2 for the Alpha tier, is that we'll actually do the interviews in the... Oh, as Durkee runs wide through Hamilton's, and Hamilton has definitely been catching out a lot of the drivers this evening. As I was saying, is that we'll do the driver interviews in the game chat, so at least everyone will be able to hear what the drivers have to say. So apologies for the Bravo tier. We weren't able to get those interviews done because there would have been some really interesting conversations happening there. So Gerard still within a second of Durkee. And you can see Christopher now 3 seconds between himself and second place. So still 1 lap left to go. Durkee locks up. Gerard is able to get a great drive coming out of the last corner. So that might give him a little bit of an advantage. Is there enough of a slipstream here to get a tow down the start-finish line? But closing down, you can see 0.4 of a second. So Durkee now has Gerard right behind him. Any slight mistake is going to allow Gerard to capitalize and move himself up into third position. So Durkee still hanging in there, half a second between himself and the fourth place driver. So Durkee's a little bit wide, but he does seem to carry a lot of that speed through the corner. See Gerard using that runoff curb to its full advantage as Gerard runs wide now, coming out of Oggies and riding that inside curb through Williams now onto the Bentley straight. And I see that it is only Brandon DeSantos who has himself a time penalty. Another driver who's been very quiet this evening is Marshall. He got himself into 5th place and has stayed there. As we see, the race is now complete, so that is Christopher who has finished the race, and Jake's finishing in 2nd place. Then Durkee crosses the line in 3rd, just ahead of Gerard. Then it is Marshall, Ashley, and as I'm saying that, I'm just making notes of where the drivers finish. Ashley, he finishes in 6th with Robert. He'll need to just cross the line, but he should come home in 7th place. Moljak, he will finish in 8th. He does have Sly Pete 2 seconds behind him. And that is Pete in 9th place. Then Andrew Horn, after that huge impact on lap 1, he will be able to recover some points. So he will finish home in 10th. Then Brandon DeSantos down in 11th place, and Stephen will round off the last position in 12th. So absolutely crazy racing here this evening. We saw how close it was. Christopher had Jakes right behind him for majority of that race. So there's Brandon De Santos now crossing the line, and that is the end of heat number 1. We now will go into heat 2, and we see that we've got Zeta Racing saying Jeepers Racing is tight, as well as Johan VDV saying, hey guys, dot. Or is it?
Hang on. And then we lost Brandon.
The chat party for us.
Thank you.
So thank you guys, that was absolutely fantastic. Just after the race, please, if you're in the chat party, let me try that without the L. I don't know there was an L in party. Just come back into the game chat. We'll have to do the driver interviews from here, please. We are still having these issues with the Discord. We're not getting that sound to come through.
No problem.
Thank you kindly.
Snettertons. Hij goed lijkt.
Why did you guys start another party chat? There was already one.
So guys, we've just finished the final calculations of the Bravo tier, and the top 5 drivers for that race who will be going into the Ford for round number 6, and that will be at the Red Bull Ring. That will be Johan VDV, Michael Tyler, Peter Brandt will double up in that Ford, as well as Colin. So Johan, Michael, Tyler, Peter and Colin, those 5 drivers will be in the Ford for a Red Bull Ring in the rain. That's going to be an absolute cracker. And then just a quick update of the points here in the Alpha tier is now that we've had a look and we've got those points in, Jakes, he is still leads, and he's now just been able to open up that gap between himself and Dirkie now by 11 points. Gerard now 5 points behind Dirkie, so those two getting closer together. And while Christopher was 23 points behind Gerard, he's now been able to close up 10 points that time round. So man, oh man, this championship is now only 29 points between Jakes and Christopher, and not only that, but we've got Andrew Horn, who's now tied with Christopher. So I'm not sure what's happening, but it does seem like we have lost some drivers, because this, according to my counting at school, is at 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 11. It's not quite how it should be going. Here we have Maljak driving down the wrong way So I think the guy's just waiting for some new invites to come out. Well, Ashley has decided that he's going to win this race on his own, so a good job there, Ashley. Brandon DeSanto showing us how to do a handbrake turn. So see, the guys are just waiting for those new invites, and once those invites come in, they will be exiting. I suppose I would need to exit as well, didn't think of that. Must say it is pretty interesting watching this track the wrong way around. Wow. So still haven't received that new invite. So that is Brandon now accepting his invite. So there we go. Lots and lots of crit penalties, but yeah, we did seem to have lost some drivers as the race started. I think what had happened was that the qualifying was still left on, so we just had to kill those 5 minutes, and the guys were just having a bit of fun there. So reverse grid for this race, and we will have the following drivers. Oh wait, I've gone and resorted this, so I can just give you the current positions of who's starting where. That was not the formulation that I was looking for. I suppose by the time I get my calculation sorted, the guys would already be in the correct order. But it will essentially be, so Ashley, he will lead, Marshall second, then Gerard third, Dirkie fourth, Jakes fifth, Christopher sixth, then it is Robert seventh, Jacques eighth, Pete ninth, Andrew 10th, Brandon 11th, Stephen in a 12th place. So Ashley leading the guys here for the second heat of the evening for the Bravo tier, for the Alpha tier. And there was a suggestion that we do start just mixing up the tiers and when they start. So from next season, we will be alternating the start times to just mix it up a bit to get the Alpha tier and Bravo tier starting at different times. And at least we'll be able to get more guys watching more often, which I think will really help everyone. So you can see Ashley now just starting to close up the pack. And the longer Ashley takes you, the colder the tires get. And not only that, but our 20-minute race, then only you'll see now looks like it's going to become a 17-minute race, which means that we do lose 2 laps of actual race time. But Ashley now swerving side to side. And just remember, guys, this was a reverse grid from heat number 1 here with the Alpha tier. So Ashley will be approaching the start finish line, and there we go. So we are now racing, and that is Gerard moving to the inside of Marshall with Dirkie right behind, but Gerard decides that he'd rather just tuck in behind Marshall to go through Riches. And side by side, Christopher and Jakes, and Jakes holding that line. Oh, little tag on the back of Dirkie by Jakes. Christopher trying to go around the outside through Montreal, and Jakes now moving to that outside, closing off Christopher, not allowing him to get any advantage. Now they'll come down into a Palmer, and that is Marshall now taking that first spot. So with Ashley running himself a little bit wide there, he's now conceded that place. But now Ashley going around the outside, you can see how close these guys are. Gerard wide going through Augustino. And Dirkie right up behind the back of Gerard with Jakes and Christopher. They just about can't even get a credit card between those two. And now they will swing right through Williams, and this is going to be an absolute drag race down to the Brundle. Who will be brave enough to go around the outside through Brundle to get the inside into Nelson? And they do seem to all be sticking on that outside line. Gerard will have a look to the inside of Marshall. Marshall now going very defensive on the inside. You can see a little chain reaction there of all 4 of those cars, just giving a little nudge as Marshall tries to get that power down. Both Gerard and Dirkie, little kick of the rear. Jake's now trying to go around the outside of Dirkie through Coram, and that's not going to work. Ashley now 0.6 of a seconds ahead of Marshall, who's got Gerard, Dirkie, Jakes and Christopher right behind him. And then we do have that 2-second gap where well, that's now dropping down to a 3-second gap. Oh, just about side by 3 wide going into the first corner. That's Dirkie on the inside. Jakes right up behind Dirkie, nearly touching that outside curve. Absolutely epic racing here this evening. Jakes defending the inside of Montreal. Will Christopher have... Oh, Jakes snaps the rear and just touches Christopher's nose, which swings him around. But now Gerard trying to push really hard to get himself ahead of Marshall. But still no opportunity there for Gerard just yet. Dirkie is still pushing really hard. And you can see Gerard closing off that inside line and not allowing Dirkie to get any advantage there. And it looks like that Christopher only lost 1 position there. So he is in 7th place. He does have Maljacques ahead of him. But absolutely a frantic action here in the early stages of this race. So Gerard, sorry, I had to take a sip of water. Gerard and Marshall are side by side. They're going through Williams. Now, we've seen Gerard do this before. He goes around the outside of Coram. Goes around the outside of Brundle, which puts him on the inside for Nelson. But it looked like Marshall decided to just allow him to go through. Then it is Dirkie, Jakes right up behind him. 0.1 of a second is the gap between Marshall and Dirkie. And Jakes, he too, a point something. If I say 0.3, I'm sure there's going to be change there, that's for sure. But now these 3 drivers through Coram. Ashley, he's still out in front, leads this race. Then it is Marshall, Dirkie, Jakes, Christopher in the background there. He has moved himself back up to 6. Then it is Robert, Jacques, Andrew, Stephen, Pete, and then Brandon. And while we know that there are another 6 cars at the back of this group, great move there for Jakes. He sneaks past the inside of Dirkie, going into the first corner, Riches. But Dirkie goes and returns the favor. He slides up on the inside. Jakes just leaving a car length there. So Dirkie now back up into a 4th position. Marshall is a little bit slow on the exit, which is now going to allow Jakes and Dirkie to close up on the inside. Dirkie now moves to the inside. Ooh, just enough space there for Marshall to get around the outside of Dirkie. And man, oh man, I have not stopped talking for the last 9 minutes. This has been absolutely frantic. Now Gerard, you can see in the front now, starting to close on the back of the first place driver. That's Marshall now down. Dirkie able to go around him. Now he's going to have absolutely a crazy pressure now from Jakes. Jakes should move to the outside just about now, or would he have a look to the inside? So Jakes is going to try the inside dive through a Brundle, but remember, Marshall decides rather just to let Jakes through. So a very gentlemanlike, should I say, of Marshall, just allowing Jakes to go through. He didn't really fight hard for that position at all. But now this is the battle for 1st and 2nd place. And there comes Dirkie. Oh, Dirkie's outbraked himself. He's run wide. Did he cut across the track again? Marshall's going to be able to get a drive on him. So Marshall now going to have a look around the outside, but he will be in the wrong place for Riches. A touch in between Marshall and Dirkie going into turn number 1. And just behind Marshall, you can see there 1.3 seconds is Christopher. So he's now getting himself back up into the mix once again. There's Christopher, the green mamba. Was that a rotation for Dirkie? So Dirkie has lost the rear coming out of Montreal. So he's going to have Robert to now contend with. But what that does is it allows Christopher to move up into a 5th place. And with just over 0.06 of a second behind himself and Marshall, that Christopher could very well be in for a podium place. He'll just need to catch Jakes. But out in front is Ashley. You can see Ashley defending with all his might, because it is Gerard who's currently going quickest out of himself and Ashley, while Christopher now moving up into 4th place. So there we go. Christopher now 4 seconds, just about 3.5 seconds behind Jakes, who's the 3rd position driver. And Christopher currently the fastest on the track. A very late break in there for Christopher and for Marshall. You'll see, I thought that Marshall might run a little bit deep, but he has managed to hang on to that position. Back to the front, and this is the battle for 1st and 2nd place. Dirkie really taking, apologies, Gerard taking a very nice tight line. There's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and the 6th place, all in the same shot as we saw the drivers coming through Murray's. So Gerard going just a little bit slower than Ashley. That's around 0.1 of a second slower than the race leaders. Ashley goes too deep, and he tries to sneak up on the inside, but just not able to get himself through. And all that's happened now is that Jakes is now within striking position. Ashley Ride running the curb on the outside. That will allow Gerard to get more straight line speed. Ashley defensive onto the inside in through Agostini. Gerard tries to go around the outside. That's going to allow Jakes to get right up behind him. And there's Christopher in the background. So Christopher now within, what's that, 3.3 seconds or 3.8 seconds behind this battle. And the more these guys fight, the easier it makes Christopher's job of trying to catch these guys down. 7 minutes left of this race, which means that we'll get possibly 3.5 laps, possibly 4 laps. It all depends on where they are when they cross the line. Side by side, Gerard and Jakes. Jakes will take the dive on the inside, so he is now up into second place. Gerard now down into third, and there comes Christopher in the background. So you can see Christopher was slower than Jakes, but it is Jakes who's now currently the fastest driver on the track for now. And apologies to the guys further down from 7th down to 12th, is that we cannot take our eyes away from this race out in front. Side by side, Gerard and Jakes once again as they now head towards Riches. Will they go side by side, or will Gerard decide just to let Jakes through? He decides just to touch the brakes a little bit longer than Jakes, allows him to get up to take that lead line. But Gerard, we've seen him make that drive on the inside. Oh, little lock up there for Gerard, not able to get the turn in done. And there's Christopher in the background. You can see him and Jakes matching lap times. But this is the race: first, the second, and the third place. So any one of these drivers could win the race this evening. Jakes having a little look to the inside, trying to get into the mind of Ashley, who now goes wide. He's not going to have the traction on the exit. Now through Hamilton, will Ashley be able to hang on? Got to stay off that outside curb, but all three drivers, they touch the curb, and that sends Ashley off. He just manages to hang on there, but that now allows Christopher. We saw him and Jakes touching earlier on in the race, and Christopher dropped down into 6th place, and that was your race leader Ashley touching that outside curb on Hamilton, throwing him off the track, and now Ashley is in a 4th position. So a little jump down the order, and that was now Sly Pete, who will watch coming through. A little confusion there by cameraman Tim. But definitely a different pace of the race is happening further up in the field. So Gerard now in a 2nd place, Jakes in 1st, and there's Christopher in a 3rd place, starting to close up this gap on Gerard. So they'll cross the line to begin a lap number 8. And at this current pace, it looks like we will get 3 laps in. So guys, hang on to your hats. This racing is not over, because now the question is, will Christopher be able to challenge not only for 2nd place as Gerard runs a little bit wide? You can see just not getting that turn in. Because Jakes a 204.1, Christopher 202.7, so just under 1.5 seconds quicker that time round. And Gerard, he is now firmly in a 2nd place, locked up there by Jakes, as we get a great shot of Christopher going through Agostini. Well, touch on the brakes there, staying off that curb. We saw what it's done to Reeve. We saw what it did to Andrew Horn, as well as to the race leader of this heat, Ashley. You can see Gerard in the just ahead, touching the inside curb, and then just allowing the car to roll out, just touching the curb on the outside. Well, Jakes is very sideways, he's out on the grass, so that's going to allow Gerard, as Jakes decides to just close that door. Tyler, if we could just jump to the outside as they go through Coram, and there's Christopher right behind this battle. So this is first, second and third, and Christopher's got a great exit. He's going to be side by side of Gerard going down the start finish line. So 2 minutes 16 left. So we should be able to get in 2 more laps. Christopher just touching the brakes, allowing Gerard to go through into turn number 1. Now onto the brakes there into Montreal. You can see all 3 drivers very, very close. Ooh. Christopher carried a lot more speed. It looks like Gerard wasn't able to get that car turned in. So Christopher had to just touch those brakes just to let Gerard go through and not touch him to unsettle not only Christopher's car but Gerard's as well. So now into Agostini. Christopher locks up, but he sees that Gerard makes the mistake. So are they going to be side by side? Yes, they are, through Hamilton. And Christopher's able to sneak up on the inside, which now puts Christopher up into second place. Gerard is now down into third. But this racing is definitely not over. They're just looking at the time. We could get in 1 more lap. And I wanted to start getting in some of the positions, but I'm too scared to put in anything now because there's anything can still happen. Oh, as Gerard outbrakes himself going into Nelson. So he's now going to allow Christopher to get away as Christopher touches the inside curb through the bomb hole. And I said a bomb hole. I did not say anything untoward. I must just confirm and say, like, you do have to be very careful on how you say that corner name. Christopher touching the inside curb on Murray's. So yes, we will have 1 more lap with 7 seconds to go as Christopher crosses the start finish line. Jake's currently out in front. Christopher very wide there coming out of Montreal. So a very interesting message coming through from Johan VDV saying, go Ashley. So Ashley currently sitting in 4th position. And here's a Marshall right up behind him. As we see Jakes now, he's going to go through Williams, flicking that car through with Christopher right up behind him. Just a couple of corners left for Jakes, and all he's got to do is just keep it on the track. And it is Christopher who flings it through sideways, and he should be able to just hang on to that. Gerard won't be close enough to take advantage of that a little mistake there. But that's what happens when you are throwing everything at it. Oh, looks like, oh, there's Christopher. So it looks like Jake's missed a gear there. And Christopher will just cross the line in 2nd place. Jake's will finish in 1st. Gerard will just about throw it into the corner. What an epic battle. Ashley will stay just ahead of Marshall. Willie. It did look very close. But yeah, Ashley in 4th place, Marshall 5th, Roberts in 6th position. Then we got Pete in 7th. Mal Jacques, he comes home in 8th position. Then Dirkie, man oh man, what an epic battle early on in this race. But he unfortunately will only finish in a 9th place. Then Stephen, he's currently in 10th, but it all depends on that time penalty that will be served. And then we see Andrew Horn, he comes home and crosses the line. He will take 10th place ahead of Stephen. Stephen finishing in 11th. And Brandon will come home in a 12th place. So absolutely frantic racing. Man oh man, that was probably the most commentating I've ever done. So we're just going to wait for the drivers to We're just going to wait for the drivers to join us in the game chat. I keep pushing the wrong button so I can't copy and paste. So guys, wow, what an absolute crack of a race, and all we can say that the Alpha tier definitely did deliver. Thank you guys for an absolute cracker race. Let's just start off with the top 5 drivers. So finishing off with 30 points for the evening. Marshall, guess what? You're in the Ford next week. Ashley, so are you, 21 points. Let's just talk to you, Ashley, quickly. You were leading that second race. You had 5 drivers, apologies, chasing you down, and it was a 6-way battle. A little mistake coming off. We saw it happening to Reeve. He did it twice. It would also happen to Andrew Horn, touching that outside curb, coming through Hamilton, and that was the end of your charge.
I was quite surprised that we're still leading as fast as we go. Because I saw that behind me, those guys were both closer. And just a little mistake in the position there.
Absolute great performance there, Ashley, 4th overall. And then we'll go to Gerard. Absolutely fantastic driving there. Really got yourself stuck in the mix. Are you happy with your result?
I think it was a good race. There's two guys in front and they are way before this game is going. I enjoyed it.
Awesome, thank you, Gerard. And then between Jakes and Christopher, both 55 points for the evening. But with Jakes finishing ahead in the last heat, that technically will put him first. So let's start off with you, Christopher. A little touch there between yourself and Jakes, coming out of Montreal, dropping yourself down to 7th, and then an absolute comeback of note in this last heat and landing up in 2nd place.
Firstly, I just want to say well done to everyone in that race. There was some brilliant racing. 6 cars up front is we can be very proud of that. That was most male driving. I made a mistake. Trying to avoid contact, couldn't, and spun and then I just got my head down and chasing, but too far.
Yeah, we definitely were watching that time quite closely, but unfortunately it was Jakes that took that win right at the end there. And then Jakes, great drive there for you, a 2nd in the 1st heat and a win here, and just extending that lead out in front. Happy with your racing this evening?
Yes, absolutely. Very happy. The first race, I just couldn't get Christopher there fast for me. That's why he's the leader of the member drivers. because he's the fastest. And the second place I was started ahead of and just a little mistake that we both made. He tried to avoid me, I almost spun. And we tried to avoid that, and he unfortunately spun. What a comeback from me. Yes. And then also just all the guys that started the six places very well driven by all six of them. Avoided scratches and got all that things. Absolutely fantastic driving. I'm very happy with the results tonight. Very happy.
Well, Jax, you actually said it quite well to say that while Christopher was the fastest, and we do have that saying here at SARCO is that the fastest doesn't always win, and this is true testament of that.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much, guys. That was absolutely fantastic. Really great to see. And we're really looking forward to seeing what happens next week when we head off to Red Bull Ring in the rain.
Ooh. I think the sport is going to be very nice.
Thanks for the call.
So guys, we will be getting up those results in the next couple of seconds on the Discord. So to the guys in the lobby, thank you so much for joining. To everyone that joined us on the stream, thank you so much for your continuous support. We love seeing those messages come through, and the drivers really do appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Tyler.
So just a quick thank you to all the guys that do help. So once again, Ashley, thank you for joining me in the commentary box, even though we did have some issues there. Just thank you once again to Tyler for joining me in the Bravo tier. No, Tyler, you in the Alpha tier as race director. And guys, don't forget, next week we will be in the once again racing the vintage touring cars, Red Bull Ring in the rain. That's going to be an absolute cracker. And this coming Thursday we are at Oschersleben A in our Porsche Trophy Challenge. So really looking forward to that. One of my favorite tracks in the game. Don't forget that this season is proudly brought to you by Thrustmaster. And without Thrustmasters that we're not able to make this happen. So thank you very much, everyone. All I can say is I hope that you enjoyed your stay with us. We will see you on Thursday. And all I can say is until then, keep racing. And thanks for watching. Yos.